Good evening. My name is Lexi Mansfield, and I'm in favor of banning assault weapons and high-capacity magazines that contain many bullets. More than 10, so that a shooter doesn't have to keep reloading a gun. It has taken me approximately 15 seconds to recite my position, or the same amount of time it took Jared Lee Loughner to kill 6 people and wound 13 others in Tucson, Arizona in January of 2011. The dead included a 9-year-old who simply wanted to see her congresswoman because she had aspirations to become one herself when she grew up. The wounded included Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, who was shot point-blank in the back of the head and survived by a miracle. And although she survived, she will never be the same. She will never be well enough to perform the job she was elected to perform, fight the causes she believed in, or simply help the people who elected her. I have now used approximately 90 seconds, or the time it took James Holmes to shoot 70 people in Aurora, Colorado, as they innocently came to watch the opening of the Batman movie. 90 seconds to shoot 70 people, 12 of whom died. 90 seconds armed with a military-style M16 and a semi-automatic handgun with a high-capacity magazine. My argument in favor of banning these assault weapons and high-capacity magazines is simple. Yes, there will always be crazy people out there, but if they had to stop to reload their weapons, the result would be less people dead and injured. Their guns could jam. They may get nervous while reloading and overtaken like Jared Lee Loughner was in Arizona. So simple and yet so hard to achieve. All I am really arguing for is time. I am not trying to take away guns from anyone, even crazy people. I am just going for guns and ammunition that can do too much damage in a short period of time. Even our former Vice President, Dick Cheney, agrees with me, and we all know how much damage he could do with a gun. James Holmes had an assault weapon that could be bought on the internet or at Cabela's or at Dick's Sporting Goods. He couldn't buy his high-capacity magazines at those places, but no problem, he could get on the internet and buy a high-capacity magazine. Indeed, he found one with 100 rounds, 1 gun, 1 magazine, 100 bullets, 70 people injured, 12 dead, 90 seconds. Given these facts, given other mass shootings in the past 30 years, half of which involve semi-automatic weapons and high-capacity magazines, it's hard to believe that everyone wouldn't be in favor of this position. How many times do we have to turn on our televisions and look at the mass murders at high schools and colleges, movie theaters and malls, and even Brown's Chicken's restaurants? How many months and years must people mourn over deaths and injuries that could have simply been prevented by just limiting the weapons and the ammunitions we allow people to legally use in this capacity, not taking them away? Heaven forbid we violate the Second Amendment. It's a constitutional right to defend ourselves by bearing arms, but should that right be limitless? You can't yell fire in a theater even though we have free speech under the First Amendment. So why can't we just limit the Second Amendment in the same way? The simple answer is the National Rifle Association, an organization that prides itself on upholding the Second Amendment, an organization that prides itself on bolstering gun sales, an organization that spends millions of dollars lobbying the Congress and the Senate, and even grading them on their voting records regarding anything having to do with guns. Yes, the National Rifle Association is against prohibiting gun and ammunition usage in any way, because that would hurt the gun industry. Gun sales, gun ownership, you name it, a vote against guns is simply un-American. After every mass shooting, the head of the NRA, Wayne LaPierre, comes out with guns loaded, so to speak, and says, no, it wasn't the assault weapons and it wasn't the high-capacity magazines. It was that the shooter was crazy, and that the only thing to do is give more people more guns to protect themselves from the crazies. He then goes on and on about how limiting weapons and magazines is just the first step in the government's plan to take all the guns away. So don't give an inch. Not in the name of Gabby Giffords or Dallas Green's 9-year-old granddaughter or the federal judge killed in Tucson. No, don't give an inch. even when the country is completely horrified by the 26 victims, 20 of which were first and second grade students in Newtown, Connecticut, that were killed by Adam Lanza in less time than it has taken me to get to this point in my speech. Yes, on December 14th of last year, just as Sandy Hook Elementary School was gearing up for Christmas and Hanukkah, Adam Lanza broke into the school armed with his Bushmaster semi-automatic rifle and 930-round magazines. Adam was disturbed. Apparently had been bullied and maybe had Asperger's disease. Despite these facts, Adam's mom, who he killed before he left home, often took him to the shooting range. She was a proud card-carrying member of the NRA, and the police even found the NRA certificate in their house. 5 minutes, 155 bullets, 20 kids, 5 teachers, 1 principal, 5 minutes for a disturbed kid who was obsessed with other mass killers. 5 minutes, but he would have had more minutes if his gun didn't jam when he tried to insert yet another 30 capacity magazine. Who knows how many more first and second graders he could have killed before killing himself. Maybe he could have found a kindergarten class. Maybe he could have killed more people than Anders Breivik in Norway. Breivik managed to kill 77 people on an isolated island in Norway. Lanza studied him, admired him. 5 minutes could have been 10 more, could have been 75 kids. You do the math. Less capacity, less death. I agree with the NRA that there will always be crazy people, and there will always be mass murder. But does that mean we should throw up our hands and do nothing? Does that mean we should make it